This morning, I got to participate in the first day of the exclusive streamer weekend for WadeBox Arena, the brand new game mode coming to MCC Island, and I wanted to break down everything you need to know from how the game works to the new mechanics you'll want to learn before the upcoming public beta. So, what is WadeBox Arena? WadeBox Arena, BBA, is a strategic expanded spin-off on the classic BattleBox game mode that is designed as a ranked system with elo matchmaking in mind. Instead of the usual one-round fight against a different team every round, BBA puts two teams against each other in a first-to-5 format, making every round like a mini mind game strategy of kit choices and adaptation. It's deeper, more flexible, and a lot more competitive than the original BattleBox, with a huge variety of new kits, more combat and utility items, new abilities and mechanics, and an emphasis on long-form decision-making across multiple rounds. For the streamer weekend, we got to try Santorini, one of the 8 maps that will be available at launch. In Santorini, we got to see 6 of the total kit classes that will be in BBA, each with its own passive abilities. There's a lot happening at once, so it genuinely took me a full game to understand it all. If you want to take some time to familiarize yourself, I would recommend checking out one of the streamers linked below for tomorrow's showcase. So, kit passive abilities. One of the biggest things that makes BattleBox Arena stand out is that every class comes with a unique passive ability. These passives are always active and they define how a class is played. Here are the kit classes and their passive abilities that we saw in the Santorini playtest. Firstly, Healer, plus 100% healing on teammates. Natural regeneration starts sooner, and nearby teammates at low health can be heard with a ping. Spectre. Spectre has a second chance mechanic. When you die, you are revived in Spectre form, where you can fly but have 0.5 hearts of health, and no bow. Powerful, but be aware because any damage will be the end of you, even just a simple spam punch. Flanker. Flankers recover used consumables over time. Hitting an enemy with an arrow reduces their ability cooldown by 10 seconds. This lets flankers cycle abilities much faster than normal if they play aggressively and hit consistently. Sharpshooter. Sharpshooters can left-click their crossbow to fire a spectral arrow that makes enemies glow when hit, travels faster, but deals less damage. Follow-up shots on a glowing enemy, however, will consume the glowing effect and deal 1 heart of extra damage. Baller. Baller can punch orbs. Punching an enemy orb will diffuse the orb, allowing it to then be picked up. Punching your own orb will make it bounce, and also resets its internal timer. This allows for a lot of counter utility play, the ability to completely shut down enemy utility, as well as flexibility in your own throws. Lastly, Trickster. Tricksters begin the round invisible for 3 seconds. When Tricksters get a kill or assist, they earn a Transform orb. Throwing this orb at an enemy's elimination marker allows a Trickster to swap to that class and kit, making for a really unique shapeshifting playstyle. BBA also introduces a full set of new throwable tools, orbs, and weapons to wrap your head around. Firstly, the Seek Orbs. Seek Orbs track targets, like mini homing projectiles. We saw 2 Seek Orbs in our playtest. Firstly, Seek Orbs of Regeneration. Throw a cluster of 3 orbs that lock onto allies. Each orb heals 1 heart over 0.6 seconds on impact. Secondly, Seek Orbs of Harming. Also thrown in clusters of 3, these lock onto enemies and deal 1.5 hearts of damage each on impact. The Short Bow and Short Swords. These are mini versions of bows and swords that deal 3 hearts of damage per shot. These cannot critically hit, making short bows about speed over long-held shots, and short swords about getting in the midst of battle. Detector Bottles. Detector bottles are throwables that take 3 seconds to aim, then auto-target the next applicable person. We saw a few types of detector bottles in our playtest. Firstly, the detector bottle of Bright Harming. Throw it, wait 3 seconds for it to arm, then it auto-targets the next enemy that comes into range and detonates, dealing 3.5 hearts and making the enemy glow for 10 seconds. Secondly, the detector bottle of Cleansing. After its 3 seconds of arming, The bottle scans for both an ally with a debuff or an enemy with a buff. When one of those comes into range, it detonates, clearing debuffs from allies and buffs from enemies in the blast radius. Thirdly, the detector bottle of harming. The bottle scans for enemy targets before detonating, damaging enemies in the blast for 4 hearts. Timed orbs. We're already familiar with timed orbs in the current BattleBox format, but in BBA we see some new timed orb effects, including firstly, the timed orb of Ender. An orb that when thrown, detonates after 2 seconds, teleporting you to the explosion point. In our playtest, these were used a lot for moving to high ground or quickly getting behind enemies when they don't expect it. Secondly, the timed orb of knockback. An orb that when thrown, detonates after 2 seconds, blasting away both enemies and yourself. Super useful for displacing enemies as well as mobility into cool spots on the map. Thirdly, the quick timed orb of speed. A short fuse orb that detonates 0.8 seconds after being thrown. When it detonates, allies in the blast receive a 60% speed boost for 2.4 seconds. Great for sudden pushes or quick escapes. The main new mechanic you need to understand in BBA is the Kitbreaker. Kitbreakers work kind of like an ultimate ability. As you play around, you earn progress towards your Kitbreaker through dealing damage and staying alive. Each class unlocks a Kitbreaker at a different threshold, but it's all linked to your personal score, the one that you see when you hold down tab. Once your bar fills up, you unlock what is essentially sub-kits of the kit you're currently in. These are variations on the same kit with new mechanics and items to give you more room to play around. Importantly, while you can initially change your kit class up, once you've chosen a Kitbreaker, you cannot swap to another. You're locked in for the rest of the game. Your Kitbreaker choice also is announced to the game, so both friendly and enemy sides can see your choice. As said earlier, there are many new items and mechanics going on, but there are also some things I wanted to draw additional attention to. In each spawn, there are 2 detector bottles of regeneration. These heal only your team. There's currently a bug where they don't appear if the server has been used for a previous match, but the team is working on it. Quests, badges, and island XP aren't implemented yet, but they're all planned to come with the full release. The backend already tracks stats like arena performance, so there will be full flexibility for the Nox crew to implement BBA's specific quests and badges. So you've heard a lot, but when can you try it for yourself? Well, coming up next is the public open beta weekend, where everyone on MCC Island can try out BBA for themselves. December 5th through 7th, times to be confirmed. Watch the MCC Island socials. Thank you for watching!